Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lenovo Ambassador John Loffer.
All right. How's everybody doing today? Good. Are you guys as jazzed up as I am from this morning's event? Right? I mean, some new cell phones, some new Fab 2 Pro. We got exciting things. Now, hopefully this event is going to be exciting as well, and I guarantee it will be. We have some great things from the business side, right? This is our Tech World for Business. Now, it's exciting. It's eventful. We've got some great products in the back. We've got some tablets. We've got the X1 Carbons. We've got some workstations back there for you guys to look at. So if you haven't had a chance to look there before the event, make sure you take some time afterwards and look at our stuff. We have some great devices, okay? So I'm an ambassador, but I'm going to be your MC for today. Okay, so I'm going to have a little bit of fun, and hopefully you guys are going to get some great information from what we have today. And I like to go over, first the agenda, right? What are we going to be doing? What are you guys here to see today? And basically what we're going to start off with is our president of Lenovo North America, Emilio Ghilardi, is going to come up, and he's going to share some interesting things about Lenovo coming through. And then after that, we're going to have some of my colleagues are going to come up, Stephen Miller and Sophie Sheehan are going to come up. They are also their ambassadors. And then we're going to take a 15-minute break, right? So I know all of us like, our 15-minute break. It almost turns into like 20 minutes, right? So let's make sure we do our 15-minute break so we can stay on track. And then after that, we're going to have Madhu Matta come up, and as well as Brian Connors. And they're from our data center group. And they're going to talk to you about some exciting things coming from our data center. So is everybody ready for today's event? All right, we had some lunch. Right? Hopefully you guys, not tired on me. Let's make sure that we pay attention. I know some of that lunch, that was great lunch. I was very hungry myself. So without further ado, let me bring up Emilio Ghilardi, Vice President of Lenovo.
Aha, okay, cool. All right, thank you. Welcome. Welcome to San Francisco. My name is Emilio Ghilardi. I'm responsible for the sales and marketing activities here in North America. I'll say something in a moment about North America. But first of all, I want to thank you all for being with us today. We have a customer from US, but we also have customers from Latin America, as well as customers for China. So we want to welcome you all. My role in the next 20 minutes is somehow to connect this morning, for those of you that had the chance to see it, together with what we call Tech World for Business. This morning, the event was mostly centered around mobility. We launched these new exciting technologies and products, but as you will hear in a second, we have a much bigger spectrum and portfolio of products. We start from our heritage in PC, the Think brand. And we have recently, 2 years ago, acquired the System X business from IBM. So we have a significant portfolio of products aimed at business. So today we'll be spending more time talking about that. But what I want to do just before going there, I want somehow to take a step backward and just revisit some of the exciting things we have heard this morning. Why talking about the evolution of Lenovo's strategy, going from a device-centric into device plus cloud, as well as IT infrastructure. Millions of devices are already today connected into the grid. In fact, we as consumer, or we as employed, or people responsible for running IT within large companies, we know that several years ago, we were counting about 1 connected device per employee. What's the number today? 2, 3, 4? How many are going to be down the road? So we can only imagine what is going to happen in the next 10, 20, 50 years in respect of this connected world. So this morning, very exciting, but it was, as I said, centered around mobility. Lots of exciting things happening. You see the power of a company like Lenovo when it's combined with key partners like Intel, like Google, and many more that you have heard about today. Today, you have only seen a glimpse of what we describe at Lenovo as customer-centric innovation. Let's move forward and talk about, again, the amount of data in the market today and what is going to happen in the future. We are all familiar with the fact that our companies are storing petabytes of data every day. And most of the time, we don't really know what to do with it. You know, I personally have the issue when I talk about how do I optimize the time my sales organization spend with customers. And the best way to do it is really to start mining data about what conversations are we having when we're coming and visiting you. What questions do you have for us? How good are we in responding to your questions? And so on and so forth. Now, getting the capability to translate data into meaningful information is what is going to make the difference down the road. So we'll all have to deal with this explosion. And we as Lenovo believe we have the vision, we have the capabilities, and we have the partnerships to become an even more important player in this broader ecosystem. So talking about that, I think it's important to just take a little step backward, just share our vision. This should be pretty familiar with most of you. As it's been said this morning by YY, it's about devices, it's about connected devices that enable services, and it's about building the infrastructure that will make all these things happening in a seamless way. Interesting example Jeff was using this morning, talking about GPS. We use the GPS technology every way, it just works. You know, we don't have to think about how many satellites are up there tracking our position. And so compelling customer-centric innovation is exactly that. Things that will just work, we don't need to care about why, they just bring us value. And that's what we are committed in doing. Our vision about the home of the future, the mobility of the future, and the office, or the school, if you want, of the future are very compelling. And they're coming together because they're based on what we think we can do better than most of the others in the market, but we also know what we don't know how to do. And as such, we team up with industry leaders. The history of our expansion in the data center specifically is built with relationships, is built with teaming up with other companies that are leader in their own space and that together with us complement the offering for our customers. We'll talk about this in a second. From our vision to our strategy. We started from a device-centric company, the Think heritage. I'm assuming that most of you are familiar with these type of products. Have been the most successful products in the history of mobile devices, PC mobile devices. And from there, we are expanding toward mobility. Remember, mobility is much more than mobile devices. So we're going toward mobility. We invested a lot of time this morning talking about the innovation we're bringing into the space, so I'm not going to repeat it, but we are also expanding into the infrastructure. The infrastructure business is what is making Lenovo a more strategic supplier and partner to the businesses. Again, we have this sort of vision for ourselves to become a trusted advisor. Company you can work with in designing the future of your data center. My colleagues will go much more specific in talking about our vision and our plans in the space, but it's a very exciting conversation. I can talk every day with people about our new generation of Think products. They're very exciting, don't get me wrong, we love them. And I'm sure you have seen them if you're not already using them. But when you talk about a data center-less company, what's your strategy? How can we help? It's a very exciting and very compelling type of conversation. When you talk about going away from having to invest 70, 80% of your IT budget just to keep lights on, and reverse this into maybe having available 80% of your IT budget down the road to actually make your business more efficient, to get into new markets, to disrupt existing businesses and take advantage of it. That is the power of being able to team up with a company that has the vision, the capabilities, as well as the relationships and partnerships to make these things happen. So with that in mind, let's go back a second to the concept of customer-centric innovation. Here are some examples of the things we've been bringing to market. All the products you see around here are in the market today. In fact, you may remember that at the beginning of this year at CES, we launched probably the largest and best complete portfolio of devices in the history of Lenovo. Just as a reminder, we won more awards for product invention at CES than any other player in the industry. And we're very proud of that because these products bring innovation that makes the life of our customers easier, better, or both. And that is on the device side. Tango, the product we have launched today, I don't, again, need to go back into this, but it's sort of a way of bringing new, meaningful innovation. And the data center. The story for us in the data center is going to be a very long journey. We are in this business for the long run. We believe this, as I said, is extremely important for the future of Lenovo. We believe we bring innovation, and we believe we bring a value proposition that is a bit unique. It's a value proposition of doing well what we know how to do and team up with industry leaders to bring a comprehensive solution into the market. We feel very strong about what we're going to be doing in this space, and of course, we want to be able to prove it to you as our customers. Our brand equity is going up. Very recently, Lenovo broke into these top 100 global brands. We're very proud of it because we don't spend millions of dollars in advertising. This has happened on the back of our product innovation. This has happened on the back of customers voting with their portfolio, buying our products, and talking about the products they have, and be proud about showing the Lenovo or Moto products that they have decided to purchase. We have been very proud about being in the top 100, but it's just the beginning of the story. Our ambitions are bigger than that. And we all know that it's easy to have ambition. What makes the difference between ambitions and results is the commitment, is the capabilities that you have, is how much you focus your energies in satisfying your customers and being able to always stand behind your products and your solution and your services. We have been pretty proud about what we have achieved in the PC market thanks to our customers. You know that it's 3 years in a row that on a global basis, we're #1 into the PC space. Last data talks about 21.1% market share globally. We have had exceptional results in China, where I think we brought through the 40% share, which is just exceptional, and many other places around the world with similar results. In North America, oh, by the way, again, I have to mention this, we maybe are a bit ignorant from a geographical point of view. When we talk about North America, we mean US and Canada. So we are all aware that Mexico is part of North America. We apologize, but for us belongs to a different organization. So when we say here North America, we talk about US and Canada. Anyhow, with this additional explanation, PC market share, North America, you see it's a history of success, and it's only because of our customers and because of our partners. We feel very strong about what we have done so far, but don't get me wrong. This is just the beginning of the journey. Growth is the marching order in this business. We will be driving consolidation on a global basis. As I said, Lenovo worldwide, 21.1% share. We went on record more than a year ago saying that we're driving to 30% worldwide. Why do we want to do that? Very simply, because we believe there are too many players in this industry. And with too many players, the ones that are not getting what they need are the customers, simply because we don't have enough capabilities to bring the right innovation into the market. There are just too many players that have no reasons to exist in the market. So we'll continue to put pressure on them. You have seen many getting out of the market in the last couple of years. We believe more to come. And this will get back into being a much healthier industry, where we can drive innovation that will translate into better productivity and better products for our customers. So a good share result, particularly good on the commercial side of the house. We almost reached 20% share in commercial notebook. But again, don't get me wrong. We are not satisfied with that. This is the beginning. Two of our largest competitors are still significantly bigger than us in this geography. North America intended as US and Canada. So we'll continue to go aggressively into the market, bringing innovation, bringing reliability of our products, the security of our supply chain, and of course the efficiency that we can drive by being the largest PC manufacturer in the world, and very likely the largest customer of most of the component suppliers in this industry. So, looking forward, what can you expect from Lenovo? Broadly speaking, pillar number one is innovation and efficiency. You have seen the innovation this morning on the mobility side of the house. Later, you'll hear more about our current generation of PCs product and the next ideas we have in mind. And of course, you'll hear us talking about our data center. Existing products that we are launching as we speak, as well as the one that we have in the pipeline with the next generation of Intel architecture coming soon down the road. Efficiency is driven by our scale. It's driven by the fact that differently than most of our competitors, if not all of them, we control our own design, we control our own supply chain, we control our own manufacturing. It's not trivial. We can bring a level of efficiency and scale that is unique to the industry. And talking about being unique to the industry, the second pillar is the breadth of our portfolio, from the phone all the way to the most complex data center. That is where we're playing, and that is where we'll continue to be playing, offering the broadest portfolio of products in the industry for consumer and for businesses. And it's important for us to stay on these two axes, the axis of consumer and the axis of business, as well as from mobility all the way to data center. Because as I said, all these things are going to get together. They will all reside on the grid, and something will have to power this grid. And we believe that us will be one of the key players in the market that will be able to bring these things together and actually make them work for our customer. The third pillar I always like to talk is about more what I am responsible for. Customer-centric support. Our organization is here to serve customers. Our job in life is to listen to your existing needs, maybe projecting together your future needs, and being the best in understanding it and translating the needs into solutions that we can bring together with our channel partners to you so that you can do what you need to do, which is developing compelling IT infrastructure and solution for your company and your business to run. We are known in the industry for being fast, and we want to continue to be the fastest in responding to the customer, to the partners, as well as to what we see happening in the market. Now, being fast is important, but it's equally, if not more important, being able to run in the right direction. It doesn't really help if you're fast, but you're going in the wrong direction. It helps if you're fast in reacting, because even if you go in the wrong direction, you can correct. And so we have a reputation in the industry we're very proud of, and you can continue to count on us. Because as we always like to say, we never stand still. We are happy about what we have done so far, but we're looking forward to the future. We believe the future is going to be even brighter. We believe we're bringing something to market. We believe we have the vision, we have the capabilities, and we have the partnerships to make a difference in this industry. 10, 20, 50 years down the road, I guarantee you, Lenovo will be around and will make your company successful. Thank you very much for being with us today. Let me stop here. We'll have time together if you have any question, anything else you want to talk about. Again, thank you for being with us this morning and this afternoon to the more business-to-business side of Tech World. Thank you very much.
Electric lights blow my mind, but I feel alright. I never stop, it's how we ride, coming up until we die. You catch my eye, bet you wanna fly. I'm so alive. Never stop, it's how we ride, coming up until
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lenovo Ambassador Stephen Miller.
Again, for the 17th time, thank you and good afternoon. The thank you is for coming to see us. You actually can't hear that enough. We really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today. I also like the theme of what is my role today? Lenovo Ambassador. My entire team's job is to meet with our customers, to take what Emilio says, our sales executives say, understand that, and talk to you when they can't be there. The other half of our job is to listen. Our whole task, the important thing is to listen. What are these needs? When Emilio talks about responsiveness, it's our job to be feet on the street to listen to what our customers need, down to moving a USB port, more to a solution from a data center. So that puts me in my topic today. How do ThinkPads, how do our Think clients revolve around business? How are they designed to get to business? Well, first you have to go back to who we are. I'm a geek. I like products. I go to CES every year since it's been Comdex. Since 1999, I've been in Vegas for Comdex and CES. This morning got me more excited than any of those years because of the modular phone. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. The other thing, I'm a geek for the industry. Why does it matter that HP split? Why does it matter that Dell is going private? Why does it matter that Apple sues Samsung? Why does it matter that Lenovo buys Motorola and x86? So to get there, I want to talk about something called inflection point. So when we get to an inflection point, it changes the industry at a fundamental level. Innovation happens every single year. Change happens every single year. Ooh, we put a bigger megapixel camera on your phone. Who cares? It's the new thing, an evolution. An inflection point is a fundamental change in the way that we do business. I'll give you one example of when this happened. Virtualization on the server side. Who was in IT in the 90s? You had AS400. You had 3270 emulators. Who's typed on a 3270 emulator? Yes. Who did config.sys and autoexec.bat? Okay, you're geeks like me. Now, all of a sudden, somebody got the idea of when you right-click, you look, the server's doing absolutely nothing 98% of the time. Why don't we tell the server it's two servers? That was a major inflection point. By 2000, 2002, people were starting to virtualize. Now, you virtualize servers. We're at another inflection point today. Actually, two different ones. First, I'm going to hit the one that's not my topic. Madhu and Brian this afternoon, in an hour from now, will talk about our data center. You've heard us talk about the inflection of data. This is not just my refrigerator talking to my phone telling me I'm out of milk. It hits every single industry differently. It hits healthcare, it hits agriculture, it hits shipping, it hits manufacturing. It hits everything in a different way, but the data is coming. Traditional storage, traditional IT will be overwhelmed and simply collapse under its own weight if you do not change the way you handle data and, more importantly, analyze that data for your own business purposes. Now let's switch to client. How much news do you need that the PC market is in decline? IDC, Gartner, that's their job. The reality is they don't talk about the two-in-one space. Some quarters, as much as 50% increase in the two-in-one space. The single-mode device is dead. Single-mode device is no longer enough. I'll give you an example. Recently did a customer visit, and they've split this company. They're in healthcare. One division got 60% of the profit and 40% of the revenue. That's all out of profit. The company that I went to visit got 60% of the revenue, but only 40% of the profit. They don't have the profit. Here's the challenge. Their employees all have 3 devices and 2 data plans. Because they're in healthcare, they don't allow corporate email on a personal phone. So every single employee has a corporate-owned phone for email and a data plan. Every employee has an iPad with a data plan. Every single employee has a PC. 3 devices, 2 data plans. They can't afford it. They've got to find a way to get to 2 devices and hopefully a data plan. At least 2 devices and 2 data plans. What's the savings? 1/3 hardware savings. And also, no disrespect, it's harder to support an iPad than it is a Windows device. They only have 90% market share for a reason. It's easier to support Windows than it is anything else. So they're looking for a device, a 2-in-1. Now this actually started with bring your own device. You guys remember bring your own device? That has its bad reasons and it has its failures in it. But what happened is, IT. We were in the world, and I liked it, of here's your new computer, shut up. Remember those guys, right? Here's your new computer. It is what it is. You get 2 computers to choose from. You get a desktop or a notebook. Wonderful, simplicity. You have 2 images to deal with. Then all of a sudden, people realize my computer weighs 7 pounds and it's 4 years old, and I'm running Windows 95, right? Now, I don't want that. I bought this thing myself. It's faster, sleeker. It actually represents me as a person. I want to use this at work. In fact, I got it on the own network. I'm a rogue. Well, that evolved into choose your own device. Now where we are, IT, you're at an inflection point. There's a couple of things going on. We're at full employment in the United States. That means people have a job and actually looking for their other job. How many of your companies, people base their job on how good is the technology given to me? You truly want me to work for you, but you're giving me a 4.5-pound computer that's 2 years old? No, I'm worth more than that. I want a cutting-edge computer. Employee morale matters. That factors into the device. The PC, the phone, the device we use is part of our image. That also applies to your work PC. The other piece of it is, sometimes touch is more productive. Here's my point on that. If touch wasn't more productive, why aren't all cell phones touch? A touch-based device makes a lot of employees more productive. So now IT, in a small company, has to look at individual employees. The bigger the company, you can look at user groups or job families or types of jobs. Would a different device make that end user, A, happier, 2, more productive? What is the business value of someone that makes money, making the company money, having a device that makes them more productive versus an old, normal clamshell notebook? Here's the thing. Most of you buy 3-year roadmaps, sometimes 4-year roadmap computers. If you buy a new computer this year and it's not touch, in 2019, your employees will be on a non-touch computer. You're behind. You just are. It's going to be harder to retain people. It's going to be harder to get things done because the device is not touch. Inflection point. Now, there are some employees that are still going to be more productive, keyboard and mouse. Here's the way that I think about it. If you sit in front of a PC, you do things for hours. If you look at your phone, you do things for moments. If you look at your watch, you do things for seconds. How close to your phone is your job? How many days can you go and just do your job on your phone? Then you should have a touch-based device for work. If you sit in front of a computer and you spend all day doing Excel spreadsheets, mouse, keyboard, 27-inch screen, a PC is actually the device you need. What if a desktop is the device you need? How many of you, or how many of your employees, would rather go home at 5 o'clock and be done? Leave work at work. Who would like to leave work at work? Here's the reality. IT decision makers. How many of you buy a notebook computer for someone that goes home to do Facebook or Amazon? Then why don't they do their email on their phone and have a desktop at work? One, the benefit, hey, when you're done, you go home. Come to work tomorrow. 2, the benefit from you, it's locked down, it's on Ethernet, you can keep it updated, nobody steals it. When's the last time somebody stole a desktop? Remember that? Remember when people used to steal desktops? People used to steal the memory and hard drives out of a desktop. Was that a problem for you? Now memory is so cheap it takes longer to steal it than it would just to buy your own. If you actually updated computers anyway. Get them a desktop. If they're more productive on that side of mouse, keyboard, screen. I love Microsoft Excel. It's not a touch thing. If you do things on your phone, it's minutes. Get a touch-based device for that employee. 2-in-1 sometimes cost more. But what's the ROI on that device? So how does that work to us? What does those industry trends, these inflection points mean to an OEM? Lenovo has to respond. We have 6 notebook computers under 3 pounds. Sophie will join me on stage in just a moment to go through our product portfolio and talk about the focus on this 2-in-1 device. My challenge to you, nothing's free. My challenge to you is think about your business. How do you use the device? How do your employees use the device? Is it time for you to address this inflection point and get a different device for different users? Time to bite the bullet and spend a couple extra dollars and make people more productive. What you'll see at Lenovo is no one else has our portfolio. For a while, when we talk about from the wristwatch to the pants pocket to the data center, here's the reality. If you weren't there this morning, YY briefly talked about what if the phone, the module, checks your glucose levels? How about a wearable that can check glucose level for a diabetic to report it with Internet of Things technology to your phone? I tell a story. Malanka, is it okay if I tell a story about my boss? I do when you're not in the room, so I'm going to tell this story. If I'm making it up as I go, Malanka, that's usually what I do, okay? Now, Malanka's son is diabetic. He's at a birthday party. He's 10. He's at a birthday party. Do 10-year-olds want cake and ice cream at the birthday party? Yes, they do. Is it cool to tell your friends you can't have cake and ice cream? No, it's not. So the young man, he's okay, by the way. The young man had too much cake and ice cream. Turns into a medical emergency because of glucose levels. Wouldn't it have been awesome if the young man had a wearable on him somewhere that measured transdermally his glucose levels to tell his phone, to tell his mom's phone, hey, call the mom? Now, I'm not saying that's one of our coming products, but we have wearables and we have phones and we have servers. So a company helping us to get there has to be a company with the wearable to start with. And by the way, my watch band matches my phone, so that's pretty cool too, right? Fashion matters, and technology matters. So you have to be the company that makes the smartwatch. You have to be the company that makes the phone. They're all the same now. My phone and my PC and my watch and the server behind me, like the GPS, I don't separate them. They're my thing, my technology. We make them all. We make the workstations to crunch data, to build things, to design things. We make the gaming machines to game, to put you in your own little perfect world and lose productivity in hours and days of your life. I hate games that tell you how many hours you've been playing. I'm embarrassed by that. We make the cool devices, the projectors in tablets, the projectors that go into PCs. No other company has the portfolio. No other company has the vision to understand what the future is going to bring us. Now, I also like to give things away. From the list of registrations, here's what we did. We drew randomly out of the box. I have 2 of them. John has 1 later. We like to put our money where our mouth is. Sophie's going to come up and talk about a product called the X1 tablet. So we're going to give one to Scott Sowers from Cisco. All right? Sophie's also going to talk about the X1 Carbon that's in its 4th generation. So we're going to give one of those to Marvin Sison from eBay. So guys, just make sure you see the folks at registration, or find me. I'm hard to find. Find Emilio. No, won't find Emilio. Find Emilio will handle it. He will ship it to you. No, I'm kidding. But find the folks at registration, and we'll make sure you get that. And John has 1 more to give away. Has the name been drawn? They're going to draw 1 more name, or you have it already. So without further ado, let's take another video, and then on stage, Sophie Sheehan will join me. So thanks.
Think. It's a mindset. It's what makes you explore.
You're going to be awesome.
Solve. Imagine. And explore again. It's committing to the journey, not the destination. About asking what's next. why not? Knowing you might need to turn around before you can forge ahead. It's saying yes to no limits, no barriers, and no boundaries. It's believing beauty can be a beast, that style can be taken to extremes, and that there should always be a little wonder to your world.
Powered by Intel Core processors.
All right, good afternoon. I am very happy to be here with you all in beautiful San Francisco. This is actually my first time here. Stephen, I think it's your, 100th time here?
I've forgotten how many times it's my favorite city on the planet. Oh, by the way, I forgot. Sophie's a newlywed. Sophie's a brand new newlywed.
Thank you.
But I do love San Francisco, so yeah, you're right. Yes.
I cannot be more thrilled to talk to you all about our exciting and innovative client devices. We're going to be going through our notebooks, desktops, and workstations. Some of you may have already gotten a chance to play around with some of them at the demos in the back of the room. And we'll be here for the rest of the day, so as you continue to have questions, we'll be there to help you with any of the demos that you may want to see. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off with ThinkPad. Now, before we really dive into the products, I wanted to give you a glance of what our 2016 mobility portfolio consists of. And as you can see, we have a very diverse and broad portfolio. And the reason why is because we serve customers from a multitude of different industries, from manufacturing to transportation to healthcare. And we understand that one device does not fit all. And that's why we have everything from 10-inch tablets to 17-inch mobile workstations. Now, you just saw a video of our new X1 family, which is in the red. And these are our high-end products that are designed to be incredibly thin, incredibly lightweight, but they do not sacrifice any type of performance. And they were designed after our X1 Carbon, which is our #1 best-selling premium notebook. So not only do we have a newer, more enhanced X1 Carbon, which is now in its 4th generation, but we also added an X1 Yoga, and we added an X1 tablet as well. Now, in the blue, T-Series, that is one of our flagship products, and it has been since the beginning. And you're going to see some T-Series that we offer that are in ultrabook form factors, and they will give you over 20 hours of battery life. Right? They'll do up to 32 gigs of memory, so very powerful systems. In the gray, you'll see that we introduced our first ever 13-inch commercial Chromebook. We also have an 11E, which is a device that is ruggedized for education. You know, it's interesting. Gartner actually did a study where they found that failure rates were higher in notebooks used by students in K through 12 than they were in soldiers using notebooks in active combat zones. So this system, it has rubber bumpers to help protect it if people drop it, right? If the kids drop it, it has anchored-in keys so they can't pull them out. It has reinforced ports so they can't stick pencils or pens in it. And the hinges have been made to withstand 50,000 cycles of opening and closing, because kids are more mobile than any type of mobile business user.
Now, you may be wondering why Sophie's talking to you, whether you're not in education. Why is Sophie talking to you about an 11E that's an education box? I'll tell you why. It's for you too. How many of you are decision IT makers that has that guy that works for you that keeps breaking things? Right? I call the X11E the sippy cup of computers. Okay? These people that break things have not proven that they can have a big boy or girl computer. So you get them an X11E, the sippy cup. It's a little slower. It's designed for a 4th grader. It can make it through Afghanistan. It can make it through a 4th grader. It can make it through your dude that keeps breaking things. Until they prove that they have big boy pull-ups and can have a big computer, they get the sippy cup. Make sense? Keep the 11E in mind, and your dude, your Chad, or your Garrett, hey Garrett, you get the X11E.
Yep, exactly. So it's not definitely just a device for education. Any industry can use it. And then in the bottom there, in the yellow on the chart, we had our L series. So this whole entire row, this is going to be your more budget-friendly notebook. So for example, the L series, a little bit more thicker, more heavier than your T or your X series, but it is our most affordable enterprise-class ThinkPad. So let's go ahead and really get into some of these products that I know you're all excited to see. The first one that we're going to go through is our X1 Carbon. This is still the lightest 14-inch Ultrabook on the market. It is 2.6 pounds, and it is razor thin, only 16 millimeters thin.
Is anybody in sales in the room? I see some sales. If you can't sell this, you're the problem.
And this system, typically when you're making systems thinner and lighter, you have to sacrifice ports. Not this one. This one, you're actually gaining ports. So you're going to have 3 USB 3.0 ports. You're going to have full-size HDMI. You'll have your mini display port as well. So you're really going to get all of that outstanding performance in this incredibly lightweight system. This system's going to do up to an i7. It's going to do up to 1 terabyte PCIe solid-state drive. So what that means is you're going to be able to open files and applications more than 2 times faster than with SATA-based solid-state drives. Right? 16 gigs of memory, very powerful system. Now, what's more is that you have all-day battery life, 10 hours, and you have something called rapid charge technology. With rapid charge, you charge this system for 30 minutes, you're going to get 80% of your battery life back. It's going to enable you to be more productive. It's going to enable your workforce. You have employees, they want to be able to work anywhere, right? And so if they're in a cafe, if they're stuck in an airport for hours, right, they don't have to worry about trying to find an outlet.
You can get stuck in airports for hours?
Yes, you can.
I figure.
Steve and I are on the road a lot, so we have a lot of experience being stuck in airports. And it's nice not to have to be one of those people that's searching for an outlet. So.
Have you seen the guys circling by the outlet, sitting on the uncomfortable floor because the only outlets in the airport are on the pole? No one wants to do that. How about sitting there for 15 minutes instead of for 3 hours?
Exactly. Now, we talk about employees wanting to work anywhere. You might have some users who they need to be connected anywhere, right? Maybe you have sales reps, or you have mobile healthcare workers who are visiting patients, and they need that fast connectivity. This X1 Carbon is going to give you high-speed 4G LTE-A, which is twice as fast as your standard 4G LTE. Now, this system is going to give you 2 docking options. You're going to have your OneLink Plus docking solution, which is a single cable that's going to provide power. It's going to charge your system, right? So if you come into the office, you don't have to worry about taking out your power supply, right? You just connect directly into the OneLink. And it's going to support up to 2 displays or a 4K video output. Now, the other docking solution that we have is our wireless docking solution called WiGig, which stands for Wireless Gigabit. Now, the way that WiGig works is, let's say you're in your office and you have a monitor, right? So you need a video port. You have maybe a keyboard, a mouse, a printer, so you need USB ports. Typically, you might be untangling a lot of wires, right? They're crisscrossing, running all over the floor. What's nice about the WiGig dock is that you do not connect anything into the system. You connect everything into the WiGig dock, except for the power, right? Because it's not going to wirelessly charge your system yet. So what you do is you connect everything into the dock, and then you're free to wirelessly connect for up to 6 feet, right? It's nice because you don't have to feel so constrained to one particular area, right? You can easily move around, or if you're in a conference room, if there's somebody presenting and they have that WiGig dock, they're not constrained to one particular area.
That's another, that 6 feet advantage. Literally, you walk in, get within 6 feet. By the time you get your lid open and sit down, you're now docked. Who's back at their desk for 20 minutes, 15 minutes before bashing to the next meeting? Instantly dock. Don't even plug in anything. You're finished, close the lid and go. Automatically dock disconnects. Great technology. Look at WiGig.
Exactly. Now, if you love this system, but you want touch, because this system does not offer touch, then you want to move to the X1 Yoga. Now,
I'm going to have a challenge for you later, because the X1 Yoga is what Sophie and I carry.
Yes.
All right, so think about us and geeks.
Now, this X1 Yoga is just as incredibly thin and lightweight. So it is going to be 2.8 pounds and still 16 millimeters thin. So incredibly sleek and thin. And now what's really new about this product is that it's the first convertible on the market that's going to offer the OLED or organic LED display. Now, if you're not familiar with the OLED display, typically you might see it on TVs, some smartphones have it, but it's going to give you more brighter, more crisper, more vibrant colors that are more truer to life. And we have two systems in the back here where you can take a look and you can see the difference between a non-OLED version and the OLED version. And you'll really see the difference in terms of
I have a warning
brightness.
there. Have you ever gone from cloth seats to leather seats in your car with heat? Anybody have heated seats in your car? You're not going back. You're not going back. Don't look at the OLED. Don't look at it. You're not going to go back. Every time you look at a screen after you look at the OLED, it's going to disappoint you and bring you bad feelings. If you look at the OLED, you're going to want it every day the rest of your life. It's that pretty. Just that's my fair warning. Just
He's right. Another feature that I truly like about this system is that it comes with a pen that is garaged in the system. It is garaged and it charges. So you charge this pen for 5 seconds, you're going to get 100 minutes of use. And what's nice about it also is you don't have to worry about your users losing their pen, right? It's always going to be docked within the system. Now, what else is really great about this X1 Yoga is continuing our tradition with our yoga notebooks. It has the lift and lock keyboard.
I wish you could see it. Make sure, if you've not seen it, come and see us to see this.
It's a really great feature because as you rotate it 360 degrees, the keys are going to lift and they're going to lock into place. So they're going to become flush with the keyboard itself.
I'll tell you why. When you flip it over, the first thing you notice is the keys on the back. Now, if you buy the $1,500 for this yourself, you're going to take care of it. Employees don't take care of the things that you buy them, right? So they're going to grab the keys, pop the keys, pull the keys, all of this stuff. Not when they disappear behind the keyboard to completely flat surface. Now it just feels flat. Now there's nothing for the fingernails to get on, to pop the keys off. Now it's just as flat on this side as it is on this.
Yep. This X1 Yoga is our first ThinkPad Yoga version to offer 4G LTE. In fact, Lenovo is still the only vendor in the market today to offer WAN on convertible or hybrid 2-in-1 devices. So again, if you do have those users that need that fast connectivity, you can use that with the X1 Yoga as well. Now, as Stephen mentioned, we both currently use this device. I previously had the X1 Carbon, moved to the X1 Yoga, and I love this system, and I use it in all the different modes. So in addition to the standard notebook mode that he's showing, we also have what we call stand mode. And stand mode is perfect for video conferencing. It's also great for watching movies. And then we have what we call tent mode. And tent mode is great. Let's say you're at the table, you're eating breakfast, and you don't want to have crumbs fall into your system, right? This is a really easy and perfect place for space-constrained areas. And then you have your traditional tablet mode, which is perfect for using our Pen Pro, and I use it for taking notes in applications such as OneNote. Very easy, and it really adapts to how you work.
Here's another thing. If you're on an airplane and you're flying and you can have your computer out, but now they've closed the door and it's time to take off, you have to put your computer away. You don't have to put your tablet away.
Yep.
Right? You get to keep your tablet out, but you don't have to keep your computer out.
Exactly. So you have airplane mode as well. And same docking solutions that you can use with the X1 Yoga. So you can do either the WiGig docking or the OneLink Plus as well. Now, if you think you made up your mind about which X1 device might be your favorite, just wait until I finish telling you about our X1 tablet because it is truly a game changer. Now, this X1 tablet is a 12-inch full HD tablet. It's going to do up to Core M7 with vPro, 16 gigs of memory, 1 terabyte PCIe, so you still have all that performance in this 12-inch form factor. Now, this system, it is 2.4 pounds with the keyboard, but without the keyboard, it's 1.76 pounds. So that is incredibly lightweight as well. And it uses that same Pen Pro. One thing I want to mention about the Pen Pro is that this pen has 2,048 levels of pressure sensitivity. To give you a benchmark, the Surface Pen has 1,024 levels of pressure sensitivity.
I'm not Rain Man, but 1,000 is 1/2 of 2,000. This is twice as good, right?
Right, exactly. So it is twice as accurate as that Surface Pen. And it's really going to give you that more natural feel of putting pen to paper. Now, what truly differentiates this X1 tablet from other tablets on the market is its Ultra Connect modular design. There is 2 modules that will snap into place onto the bottom of this tablet. The first one is the productivity module. And what that's going to do, it's going to give you an additional 5 hours of battery life. So you have 10 hours in the tablet itself, you add this productivity module, and you're going to have 15 hours of battery life. It's also going to give you full-size HDMI. It's going to give you another USB 3.0 port, and it's going to give you your OneLink Plus docking port as well. Now, the other module we have is our projector module. So what this is going to do is going to give you a Pico projector that is going to project up to 60 inches, right? So you're going to 60-inch display from your X1 tablet.
This is my favorite. Here's the way that I tell you about this. You ever been to a meeting where you thought you were going to talk to one person and you end up talking to 5? And there's one Excel spreadsheet or one PowerPoint slide you just have to show, and you just realized your keyboard is nasty. You just pop on the module, flip against the wall, and therefore, boom, 60-inch projection on the screen. No one sees your nasty keyboard. You've saved the day because you have a projector in your briefcase. And what does it weigh? This is half a pound, third of a pound, trivially weight in your briefcase.
Yep. And I've talked to some customers who've told me that their sales reps, they're carrying their own portable projectors. So this is something nice that you can easily throw into your bag as you're going to the different meetings. One more thing that I wanted to mention is the companion keyboard with this ThinkPad is a very sturdy keyboard, right? ThinkPads, we're known for our industry-leading keyboards. It's one of our crown jewels, and this is no different than any of those keyboards that you're going to see with some of our full-size 14-inch, 15.6-inch notebooks as well. So it's really going to give you that full PC experience.
Now, I want to see a show of hands here. This is the lemma. This is my homework. Sophie and I chose, I'm actually having second thoughts. Sophie and I chose, okay, here's the upsides. You always have a 14-inch device with a full-size keyboard. You always have that. The downside is it's always 3 pounds. Okay, she said 2.88, but let's just call it 3. It's always 3 pounds, but you always have. Now, if you want to flip over, you can flip over, okay? But you always have the full keyboard, etc. Now, the other side, how many's with Jimmy is going to go? Okay, here's the downside, the upside. Pound and a half. This is your commute. This is your commute. This is your briefcase. Get to the office, you dock it, you have 2 monitors, you have 4K, 2K. This is your commute. You decide to add, it's still 2.5 pounds with the keyboard. Downside is, okay, it's 12-inch screen. Who's over here? Who's with the X1 tablet? I don't see hands. You guys got to play longer. It gets boring for all of us. There you go. All right, X1 tablet. Or now, who stayed with me over here? Because I don't know, X1 yoga, okay? More hands. Okay, salespeople, did you notice that? Salespeople, I did that for you. X1 yoga. All right, thanks. Okay.
Something else about this X1 tablet that is important to a lot of our customers is serviceability. I'm sure some of you might be thinking, a tablet so thin, how easy is it to surface? Well, there is a couple of screws, a couple of plastic tabs. You pop it open, you'll get access to the battery, the storage, and the wireless WAN card. So if you need to upgrade, replace, or repair, it's very easy to do.
That brings up, and I don't understand my relationship with the Surface, the Microsoft Surface. I love it. It's my competitor in a lot of ways. But it actually made Windows PCs cool again. I believe that's an awesome thing. Here's the downside you may not know. You're in the Caribbean, you're in lots of places, no warranty, good luck to you. The other side is, she just brought up serviceability. The drive is soldered to the system board. Can't tell you the name of the company here in the Bay Area. Has 1,000 surfaces. You know what their service policy is? A sheet of paper and a drill. They have a sheet of paper with a hole in it, and they take a drill and drill through that hole to drill through the solid-state drive to destroy it and throw it in the trash. That's not good IT spend. X1 tablet, pop it open, the SD drive pops out, you get it serviced, change it out to a different one, put the SD drive in. The SD drive is in your hand, not in the device going away for service. That's just better, right?
And Stephen brings up a great point. Typically, when we're at customer meetings, one of the most popular questions that we get asked about this X1 tablet is, how does it differentiate from the Surface? And before we go into that, let's roll a video.
I like that.
So a few key things that hopefully you took away from this in terms of how the X1 tablet differentiates itself. We talked about keyboard quality. The next thing is durability. This X1 tablet is military spec tested. The Surface is not. The next thing is battery life. You can get up to 15 hours using that productivity module. And then the next thing is the modularity, right? So if you want to add a Pico projector, you can. And then another feature is wireless WAN. So those are a few key things in addition to the serviceability that really allow this X1 tablet to stand out from many of the other tablets on the market today. Now, we talked about T-Series as one of our flagship products. This is our first ever T-Series at 3 pounds. If you're familiar with T-Series, typically it's about 4 pounds. We did have a T450S last year that was 3.5 pounds, but this is our lightest T-Series ever.
I actually do have a warning for you. If you're the type of decision maker or an executive that traditionally likes to look very different from what the employees carry, do you know those are executives? I have a very special computer because I'm an executive. You have a very boring computer because you're not, right? This is going to be a problem for you. This is what the employee carries. This is as thin and as light as the first generation of Carbon. A traditional, everyday computer for the rank and file employee, the same weight as the first generation executive carry. So fair warning.
Yep. And some of the things that we added to this generation of the T460S, well, we added now where you can do up to 24 gigs of memory. We added PCIe solid state drive as well. So these are things that are really going to add on to it. We added a WQHD so you can get those bright, beautiful pictures. And this system, it's also great because for those of you who like mechanical docking, you can do mechanical docks with the system or you can do the Y-gig docking. So you truly have the perfect combination of enterprise features and lightweight portability. Now, the next area of ThinkPads that we want to talk about is our P-Series, our workstation. So the top row is our mobile workstations, and then on the bottom, we have our true Think stations. Now, starting with our P40 Yoga, this is the first multi-mode mobile workstation on the market today, and it is less than 4 pounds. It is 3.9 pounds in a 14-inch form factor. It has NVIDIA graphics, i7 processor, and it truly brings that new type of user to the system, the more artistic, creative user that likes putting pen to paper, because you can use this ISV certified device with that same Pen Pro that we talked about with our X1 devices as well.
One of the things I've learned from talking to customers, the folks that sit in front of a workstation are the highest paid traditionally short of the executive floor. The downside of that is when they don't work, they're not productive, manufacturing doesn't happen. When design doesn't happen, procurement doesn't matter. Manufacturing can't happen. Manufacturing can't happen, shipping can't happen. If shipping can't happen, sales might as well go buy you golf, right? This is about being in the field and also being productive. The reliability is going to come out, but that high-paid user that has a full workstation there can be out in the field because it's a workstation, can still render, can still take the designs, can with special photographer all the way to the designer, still ISV certifications in the field with the docking pin. This is the productivity in the field workstation. This is the P40.
Yep. It's perfect for interior designers, graphic artists, comic book writers. I mean, there's so many different users that can really use this system to be very productive. The next system we had was the P50S. This is one of our first 15-inch mobile workstations that is under 5 pounds. It's 4.9 pounds. It has our PowerBridge battery, so you can get up to 20 hours of battery life. And if you're not familiar with PowerBridge, it uses a sealed internal 3-cell battery with an external hot swappable 3 or 6-cell battery to give you that 20 hours of battery life. And then the P50, P70, these are our true corporate workhorses. You're getting Intel Xeon processor, 4K displays, to 64 gigs of memory.
Look how thin that baby is.
Yeah, right.
This is a svelte 8 pounds, okay? But here's the thing. This is not a toy. This is not one of the products you ask how much it cost. This is the product you go, how much does it do? This is a tool. All right, this is RAID drives. This is 2 gig of video memory. This is horsepower and in workstation getting things done. 8 pounds of business, right? That's the P70.
Exactly. Both of those systems, the P50, P70, they both have enough horsepower to handle those compute-intensive tasks such as 4K editing or 3D modeling, or if you're doing high-end image work such as CAD, they are really going to help you to get the job done. Now, the bottom area that we had on that chart was our ThinkStation devices. These are devices that we truly modified from the ground up. So, and there's a few areas that we truly focused on. Number one is the toolless serviceability of it, right? So everything will come out of the box without a screwdriver. There's red touch points where you can interact with it. So very easy if you need to service it. The next thing is reliability. So one of the biggest challenges with workstations is how do you keep it cool, right? Because you can put up to 1 terabyte of memory in it. So thermal design is very important, and we patented something called tri-channel cooling where we only use 3 system fans to cool the system. Now P310, this is your entry-level workstation. This is perfect for those users who they're moving from a desktop to a workstation, right? If they're doing entry-level CAD, for example. P500, a lot of our healthcare customers like these for their medical imaging systems. It's popular for product design. For example, Stanley Black & Decker has been a ThinkStation customer of ours for the last 4 generations, and they use these systems to design all their DeWalt and Stanley Black & Decker tools. P710 and P910, these are our dual processor workstations. So the P710, this is going to be perfect for complex coding, high-end design, engineering work. P910, this is designed to handle the most mission-critical medical and geospatial and scientific applications with ease, right?
For example, the P710 is where Harley-Davidson motorcycles are designed. So you can design a motorcycle at the 700, and we still go 1 step above that for the 900.
Exactly. Oil and gas, love the P910. If you're doing any type of on-site rendering, they are perfect systems. Now, before we move on to ThinkCenter, something that I really want to make sure to leave with you regarding ThinkPads is the core tenets of our brand, which are purposeful design, trusted quality, and relentless innovation. And we talked a lot about innovative design and reliability and why that matters. And we design our products to be incredibly ruggedized. And one thing that I want to mention that probably might be a problem with some of you, or if you've had it in the past, is spills, right? People spilling drinks in their systems. Does anybody have any guesses as to how many ounces the industry deems acceptable for spill resistance? 1 ounce.
1 measly ounce.
Unacceptable, unless you're taking shots at your desk. Does anybody have any guesses as to how many ounces Lenovo tests our systems to? You don't count. 16.9 ounces, which is equivalent to a bottle of water or a large frosty beverage. We have a colleague here who actually wanted to do his own spill test, and I think we're going to go ahead and play that video as well.
All right.
Hello, I'm Garrett from Lenovo, and today we're here at the Chef's Academy in Morrisville, North Carolina. With me I have Chef Ryan.
Hey, Garrett.
And together we're going to perform an extreme spill test on a ThinkPad notebook. ThinkPads are legendary for their spill-resistant keyboard design, and the latest models have been built to take up to 16.9 ounces of liquid. But today we're really going to push the limits. We're actually going to dump almost 4 times that amount on this ThinkPad. Now, things are going to get a little messy here, but let's get started. First, 16.9 ounces of red wine. That's a big glass of wine. But this is the spill volume that we've designed our ThinkPads to handle. Hey, it's still working. But now we're really going to push the limits. Let's try a mug of coffee. And finally, an entire pitcher of ice water. That's incredible. That's amazing. I mean, we've pushed this thing well beyond the limit of 16.9 ounces, and it's still running.
That is crazy.
Gosh, this is a mess.
It really is.
Who's going to clean it up?
I don't know, but I think I have something cooking in the oven there.
We should have put a tarp down.
You're right.
Make sure you meet the creator and star of that video, Garrett Duggar. He'll be back with the ThinkPads in just after the break, but make sure you say hello to Garrett.
Now, we have desktops in all different shapes and sizes, but there's 2 key areas that we're really seeing a lot of growth, which is in our all-in-ones and our Tiny. Now, we were the first vendor to shrink a desktop into a 1-liter package. And the Tiny is one of our best-selling desktops. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about our ThinkCenter X1 All-in-One. You heard me talk earlier about our X1 branded notebooks. Well, this All-in-One is slimmer than a notebook. It is 11 millimeters thin. It's a 23.8-inch full HD anti-glare display for bright pictures with 0 shine, right? That anti-glare display is going to be perfect for those environments where there's lots of natural lighting, there's a lot of reflective office lights, because it's going to help reduce that eye strain. Now, this system, very powerful, up to an i7 processor with vPro, so you're going to get that manageability and security as well. It is Skype for Business certified, so on the front there's going to be these dual array microphones. One of them is going to enhance your speech, and the other one is going to eliminate any background noise. You're going to have crystal clear conferencing with Dolby audio as well. And this all-in-one, it's going to come with this adjustable, really elegant adjustable stand that's going to go from -5 degrees to 45 degrees, so you can really adjust it the way that you want to, so make sure it works for you. And this is perfect for your client-facing locations, right? Because it has that sleek, elegant design. It's perfect for kiosks. It's going to be great for digital signage, for example. So a lot of different areas where you can really utilize all-in-ones and space-constrained areas as well. Now, the Tiny, you can get everything from an entry-level Tiny M600 with a Pentium processor to a really high-end M900 i7, up to 32 gigs of memory, the M.2 solid-state drive. It is a truly powerful device, and it has become our #1 best-selling commercial desktop. I mean, it's over 40% of our desktop portfolio is on this Tiny desktop.
If you want some trivia, since we're the global #1 commercial desktop vendor, and this is our #1 selling, this is the world's best-selling desktop computer. Kind of cool, right? The world's best-selling desktop.
Every single one of these Tiny desktops will push 3 displays. The only difference between the M700 and the M900, our premium version, is the M900 will give you vPro. It also has the capability to do Mosaic, where you can get 4 displays. Every single tiny desktop is military spec tested. So another advantage of this year's generation, because last year only our M93P premium desktop was mil-spec tested, now the entire portfolio is.
Here's what that means to you. Healthcare, put it in the wall. Manufacturing, put it in the warehouse. High temperature, low temperature, vibration, dust. All the things, the bad things that can happen. This device, can't say ruggedized, but this device is 12 mil-spec tested to be in your space where you need it.
Absolutely, and there's some obvious advantages just with that small form factor, right? It's gonna cut down your power cost savings compared to a small form factor or a tower. This system, it's also gonna save you on shipping costs. It's easy for deployment because you can take it from building to building, from floor to floor. But what truly differentiates, and I think one of the reasons why a lot of customers love this tiny desktop, is because you can mount it anywhere. You can mount it in the ceiling, behind a monitor, under a desk. Now let's say you do have it in the ceiling somewhere where it's out of reach. All you have to do to power on your system is to hit Alt-P. You're good to go. Very easy.
Ran into a customer that had accidentally had bought my competitor's computer. With it, they had to buy wooden sticks because they bought the competitor's device to put in a little kiosk. Well, you know where the power button is? Inside the kiosk. So they had to drill a hole in the kiosk and issue everybody a wooden stick to poke the power button. With Tiny, all you needed was Alt-P. Who would rather buy a stick versus Alt-P? It just makes sense.
Yep. And there's a lot of different other accessories that you can utilize with this Tiny. Let's say you need more legacy ports. Well, we have an I/O expansion box. We have a storage kit where you can add an external optical drive if you need to, or an external hard drive. Another popular accessory is our Tiny-in-One. It is a 23-inch monitor with a built-in VESA mounting sleeve and a set of connectors that mate with the ports on the Tiny. And the big story here is ease of deployment, because it literally takes 2 steps to set up this new Tiny-in-One. You place the Tiny in the mounting sleeve, slide in the connectors, and your setup is done. There's no need for an IT service call. It's very end-user doable. It's perfect for any customer that wants a more flexible, all-in-one type solution that can be rapidly deployed. And it fits all of our current family of Tiny desktops, from entry-level to high-end to our thin client models. So it really gives you that power to scale your hardware based upon your users' needs, right? You can easily upgrade a Tiny to a more powerful one if you wanted to. It's perfect for if you have environments or uniformity requirements such as public sector, right? So a lot of different ways that you can really utilize it. And in fact, it's been so popular that coming at the end of July, we're going to be introducing a 22-inch Tiny-in-One as well as a 24-inch Tiny-in-One. And they're going to have a sleek, borderless display. And we're also adding audio. So this version, the 23-inch, did not have it, and it will with a 22 and 24 to make conferencing easier as well.
Excellent. Obviously, we have an hour. We can't go into every single product we have. Our goal today is to give you the highlights. The products understand what we're trying to get done for our portfolio. Sophie did a great job of giving you the details about what they're trying to get done, the space they fit into your business. Take a moment, look at the other products. Find your sales rep. Look at what we're trying to get done to help you. The entire reason we exist is to help your business do what your business does to make money. Our devices help your end users be more productive. We have to help you pick the right device per user. Make sense? Now quickly, last logistics. 15-minute break. Now we're in San Francisco. I know the culture, that means 27 minutes. All right? It's not traffic. Let's try to make this 15 minutes. We'll come back. We'll hear wonderful things, new announcements, great products from our data center group. So 15-minute break, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our program will resume in 10 minutes. Once again, our program will resume in 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program will resume in 5 minutes. Once again, please take your seats. Our program will resume in 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program is about to resume. Once again, please take your seats. Our program is about to resume. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program is about to begin. Once again, please take your seats. Our program is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program is about to begin. Once again, we invite you to take your seats. Our program is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back John Laufer.
Good information. There it is. There it is. Welcome back, everybody. I know a lot of people are coming back from the demos and also from getting a snack too. So how about the morning, right? How about some of these products? The X1 Yoga, right? We have the X1 tablet. I think I'm still on the X1 Yoga side. I'm not so much of a tablet guy. Steven said, you know, are you a tablet guy? Are you over here? Or are you on the X1 Yoga side? I still think I'm on the X1 Yoga side. My eyes are getting bad. I still need that 14-inch screen, and I always like to have my keyboard, right? So exciting things from a business perspective on our laptops, on our tablets, all the way to our workstations. So next what we have is we have a couple of guys coming up from our data center group. And they're going to talk to you guys about some improvements, some interesting facts about what we're doing. So first, we're going to have Madhu Matta. He's the Vice President, Server Storage and Solutions BU. And then after that, we're going to have Brian Connors come up. And Brian is the Vice President of Next Generation IT and Business Development. So help me welcoming Madhu Matta.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Where? Tell me where on the planet, in 1.5 hours, you will see the future of mobility, connected devices, the cloud, gaming, virtual reality, and there was much, much more. You won't, right? But there's one thing to remember. All of that, let me give you a quick stat that I read. I remember the times when I was given a suitcase. My first cell phone was a briefcase, right, that weighed a ton. And today I read statistics that say 5.5 million connected devices will come online as we speak every day. Now think about that for a minute. You heard a lot about devices today, laptops, PCs. Guess what is common for all those things? One of the most exciting things that are required, a data center. Be it a cloud format, be it an on-prem data center, doesn't matter. What's key is a back-end data center. And a data center needs what? Servers, storage, networking, solutions, services. That's what we're here about. So my name is Madhu Matta, and I think sometimes I have one of the best jobs. I get to talk to many of you on a daily basis on the needs of your data center today and your needs of your data center tomorrow. The data center is in transformation. We all know that. You saw that today. So I want to thank all of you, first of all, before I start, for being here. There's many customers here. There's many partners here. I want to thank you for your business. I want to thank you for being here. I know many of you have traveled a very long way. Fortunately, I didn't have to this time. I live local, but I don't work local. So it was very nice to be here in my hometown to speak to you. But I want to thank you once again before I start. So let me start first by, let's start with who we are. You heard a lot from the mobile business group today. You heard from the personal computer group today. I'm the first speaker to kick off the data center group. Who are we? First of all, we're a global organization with over 2,500 people. Our entire portfolio, we have an entire end-to-end portfolio of servers, storage, networking, solutions, and to wrap it all up, a set of services that are critical to our customers, right? I'll give you a few examples. I have my colleague here, Brian Connors, who will come up next to talk about networking. But I'll give you some quick examples of our server portfolio and storage portfolio. I'll go into a lot more detail as we go on. Our server lines are split into two swim lanes. The first swim lane is called the Think server line, starting with the entry, mid-range, all the way to the high end. And then we have the System X line that was referenced this morning, which came to us from IBM, known for its deep heritage of innovation, engineering expertise, and if you were watching a little earlier the introduction, #1 in reliability and quality. To complement that, we have an entire roadmap around solutions. When I go around the world talking to customers, customers look at me and say, I wake up every morning with a business problem, and I'm not looking to see how many pounds of servers or storage I want to buy. What I'm looking for is a solution to my business problem. So we have an entire roadmap around solutions that address those customers' needs. And lastly, services: design, implementation, consultancy, and managed services. Many, many, many customers. You know, there's a saying out there, IT for most customers is cost of doing business. In hyperscale, IT is their business, not in the enterprise. That's the cost of doing business. And that's where wrapping all this around with solutions makes a very, very big difference. In storage, again, we have two swim lanes. One is our S-series line of product that goes all the way from entry through mid-range. And then the more premium line of V-series that start again at the entry, go through mid-range, and oh, by the way, there's a higher end of mid-range. There's a set of bands, and we cover that entire spectrum up to the higher band, the higher end of mid-range. Now, when I looked at some of the IDC numbers from March for storage, it's a $40 billion market. But for the first time, they reported that the classic SAN storage market is in a little bit of a decline. Why? Because there were 3 new models coming out there for storage: cloud storage, software-defined storage, and of course the classic storage. So what you're going to see today is not just our line of classic SAN storage, but we're going to be one of the first to get into the software-defined storage market, and I'll talk more about that. You heard a lot about cloud today, and when we talk to our customers, every CIO is talking about cloud. But as we dig deeper, what customers are really looking for is, yes, they want to move to the cloud. To them, cloud comes down to one thing: the idea and the choice of workload placement, the flexibility of workload placement. What they don't want is a set of PhDs to go through reams of reference architecture documents just to implement cloud on their premises or off-prem. So our goal is to address their cloud needs with a very simple set of architecture, which I'll walk through in just a bit. I'll keep going back to this morning. Incredibly exciting morning. You saw the announcements today. All those devices, their primary purpose is to generate data. What do you do with that data? It's just raw data. Unless you can gain real-time insights from that data, it's just data. The 5.5 million connected things that are going to be coming online every day, all they will do is keep generating data and sending it back to you. That's where big data and analytics come in. Again, there's a lot of solutions out there, but you need double PhDs to implement those solutions. Our goal is to set up a very simple set of solutions around big data and then analytics, and I'll walk you through that too. And lastly, engineered solutions. We see that as the future. Here's what that means. Solutions is a very overused term. Most customers in the classic enterprise still use the Microsofts of the world, the SQL servers, Oracles, VMwares. There's literally every company out there that says, don't worry, I can do solutions for you. It's just a matter of taking some hardware and throwing a workload on top of it and making sure it works seamlessly. That's not what that means. The idea here is all about saying, let's take the workload and engineer a solution underneath it such that what you get at the end of the day is not just a workload. Anybody can do that. What you get is a workload, your workload, running 5% faster, 10% faster. That translates into real business results. And that's the focus in that area. Now, all this great stuff would be fantastic if we didn't have a clear strategy of delivery. So underpinning all this is the third vector here. And our strategy is in 3 simple steps. Like I said, the theme here is make it very simple to our customers. Number 1, open and flexible. Right? I'll walk you through what that means. Secondly, purpose-driven innovation. Innovation that matters to you, not innovation for the sake of innovation. And third, a transformational customer experience. What that means is, from the time the sales team walks in and engages with you, the customer, all the way through your buying, through your purchasing power, through a business partner, ordering, logistics, the entire life cycle, we look at that as it's got to be completely transformational. That's where we start to differentiate in many, many ways on the customer experience side. So it's very simple, 3 tenets. I'll walk through a little more detail. As we brought the System X in, one of the biggest things that we could bring to System X, we already brought the development team in with their long history of deep engineering expertise and innovation. But what we brought is DCG is part of the larger $46 billion Lenovo group. What that does is brings to the customer an incredible scale of global economics as well as supply chain. We have 8 factories, 55,000 employees, and as much as we are a division of the company, we get the advantage of that tremendous scale and economics. We are the largest buyer of so many components out there that gives us purchasing power and a set of economics that few can compete with. And we translate all of that into our products and services that eventually come to you at that level of economics. I don't want to go through each of these stats, but you can read them for yourselves. But these stats, this level of scale, has brought us now to the number 3 largest x86 provider in the world today. I don't know how many of you knew that, but that number we're very proud of. Clearly, we want to be more proud when we get to number 2 and eventually number 1. And we believe strongly that our strategy that I'm going to share with you today will get us there. But as of today, we're now number 3 in the world. Now, I talked about our strategy, and I want to reiterate that and quickly go into each of these. The first one is a quick one, open and flexible. By itself, it's 2 words with a little spring attached to it. What does that mean? How is it advantageous to you, the customer or the business partner? Right? Next, purpose-driven innovation. What does that mean? Right? I'll give you a few quick examples and then I'll get to a little more detail. When we deliver our products today, our focus is what's the life cycle of the customer? What's the return on investment the customer is going to get? So our flagship servers, for example, have 2 sets of innovations that I can talk about today. One, the 3650, 3850, the 3950 are flagship products out there that drive most of the SAP HANA databases in the world. They're built modular. Why? So that tomorrow there's a new generation of processors from Intel, our friends at Intel. You don't need to change the entire chassis. All you do, we call it a little book. Change the little book, you get a new processor. That is an incredible return on investment when you can do multiple generations of processor with the same chassis. Our water-cooled systems that Brian will talk about next. Our warm water-cooled systems driving 40% more energy efficiency today in most data centers around the world that use it. There are many, many, many more innovations, and there are a few more examples coming up. And lastly, the customer experience that I talked about. So let's take each one of these very quickly. The first one, open and flexible. What does that mean? In a nutshell, it's very simple. Versus the strategies of many of our competition who believe in hundreds of millions of dollars in organic investments, while it has its own advantages, the challenge is we live in an incredibly innovative world. We're here in the Valley today. Right round us, there are hundreds of companies out innovating us on a daily basis. Our strategy is to ensure that we bring you the best of breed solutions out there by partnering with the best, versus relying on hundreds of millions of dollars of organic investments and eventually trying to protect those investments in the hope that one day they will see fruit. And in the meantime, we get out-innovated out there. So our strategy is to bring the best in. Here's a small example of an ecosystem that we deal with, right? You saw Intel, you heard of Intel this morning. There was Juniper this morning. Brian, again, will talk about a lot more about our ecosystem of partners, but that's just a small sample of it. Next, I talked a little bit of innovation. I don't know how many of you know this, but a lot of that innovation has driven some of the world's fastest systems that drive, eventually, predicting severe weather patterns. That has helped so many businesses. Take Walmart, for example, a quick example. The ability to predict severe weather patterns drives their revenue in an unprecedented scale. You ask me how? Well, if you walk into a Walmart before a storm hits, all their aisles, everything on those aisles change magically about a day before the storm hits with products that they know people will be stocking up for a 24-hour storm. Imagine the revenue that just grew with knowing that little piece of information. I mean, there are many examples of that. Our systems power the world's fastest systems out there for predicting weather patterns. Next, faster analytics. Again, between the 3850 and the 3950, we drive some of the fastest systems for predicting better analytics. Online transactions per minute. That relates to MySQL, or rather Microsoft SQL. The faster the system, the faster you have more online transactions, the more your revenue with more transactions. We run one of the fastest in the world for that. And lastly, virtualization. The faster the system you have for running more and more virtualized servers, you have much better amortization of that system, right? So we run most of that. You have over 2,000 engineers working on it. We have 17 world record benchmarks. All this has led to that previous chart that I showed you of being number 3 in the world. And lastly, customer experience. Providing a great customer experience is one thing. Being number 1 in reliability is another. When a customer knows that he's buying a product from the number 1 reliable partner on the planet, there is a peace of mind that comes with that that transcends everything out there for that particular IT person. But the fact that he doesn't have to go home and worry that his data center infrastructure is going to fail is huge for these people. They are working 24/7. Number 1 in customer experience. And by the way, these numbers are from third-party vendors out there. One's ITIC, which is the Information Technology Industry Council, and the other is TBR. And to complement our customers, despite the fact that we're number 1 in reliability, we have 10,000 support specialists in case something goes wrong, to react immediately. Now, as a data center group, I'm going to shift gears a little bit. Over the last few days, we've made some very exciting announcements. This morning was all about new technology and announcements. And we as a data center group don't want to be outdone at all, right? So we've made multiple announcements over the last few days, and I'd like to walk you through, as opposed to 40 slides of our entire portfolio that many of you are familiar with, let's walk through what the new and exciting stuff coming up with. So on the server side, let's start with the server side. Our first announcement that we made a few days ago was a refresh of our mission-critical line, the X3850 and the 3950, our flagship line that I said that runs SAP HANA like nobody else does. No other vendor has it. We have over 55% share in an SAP HANA space, and I will tell you, there are many, many companies who would kill for that kind of share. It's an incredibly hard database to install and configure, and we have the maximum share there. And that's the product that drives that and powers most systems out there. So there's a refresh for the mission-critical X6. We'll also be announcing an entirely new platform for our dense line of servers. On the storage side, like I said, very exciting. We have two announcements to make. One on the software-defined storage that will completely revolutionize storage economics. The storage industry is already dipping, primarily because of some of these new trends, and we want to be first out there with a set of appliances that you can use today. Oh, I didn't build that out, sorry. And of course, we can't forget our classic line of storage, so there's an entire refresh from 6 gig to 12 gig with our classic line of storage that I'll touch upon. And lastly, the next-gen technologies with both hyperconverged with Nutanix, as well as our networking portfolio, and I'll leave that to Brian to talk about. So let's talk about our server first. So our first announcement today is with our 3850, the new platform with the refreshed E7 v4 processor. In LinPack tests, that product has already shown over 39% in performance. We're also scaling the memory capacity in that product from 6 terabyte to 8 terabyte. And it will take HANA to a whole new level of performance with this scaling. And it's a very simple upgrade, like I said earlier. It's a little book, you replace the book, you've got an entire new chassis and a new level of performance. Many of you already buying our dense line of products may know our next scale line. This is a product that has water cooling as one of the options. It drives Europe's fastest supercomputer out there today. 40% less energy with the warm water cooling, and it's shipping today. Now, I wanted to put that up there to show you what we have today. This is not a new announcement. But what we're doing is expanding the dense line. This is a brand new platform. We're very excited to introduce. This is a 2U 4-node platform that we're introducing today. The chassis has a model number of N400. The nodes that go in have a model number of ST350. It's based on the latest Intel Xeon E5 v4 processors. And in a single 42U rack, you can see the numbers in terms of what we can scale up there today. 3360 cores, 42 terabytes of memory in a single rack. And equally important is the numbers on the right side. We compared those numbers that you see on the right side to what you could do with a previous generation, let's say Ivy Bridge, a single 2U node. With this product, you now can do 4x the number of workloads, but it's a 2U 4-node, it's the same height, more nodes. 12x consolidation of workloads from a previous generation of a 2U product. What that means is, to run the same amount of workloads here with the same power and performance, you would have needed, with the previous generation, 12 2U boxes. Think of the power, the management, the cooling savings that you get just out of this one box versus previous generations. And lastly, we looked at the competition. We actually ran this product and set it up versus the competition, and we found that it was 48% less in terms of time to deploy with our Xclarity management platform and engine. Let's talk about software-defined storage. Now, that's been a buzzword that's been out there for a while. But ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know, this is real today. These products that I'm going to show you in a minute will be shipping in the third quarter of 2016. Let's start with software-defined storage. Right? You've heard all about it. The beauty about software-defined storage is not just the revolutionary economics that it's going to provide, but the fact that it's all x86 based, which plays perfectly into the fact that we're a leading x86 vendor. 35% growth in software-defined storage. And an object, just object, is 27%. What is object storage, and why is it growing so fast? Every image you produce We talk to many customers who run their contracts and need those to be signed with PDFs. That's an image. Scanned documents, that's an image. Photographs, that's an image. File and block, which is the other two brothers of the or sisters of the storage space, are not growing near as fast as object is. And you can see why. Images is where most of it's at. Healthcare is all about images. That's object storage. So that's growing the fastest. And we all know the growth in storage. I don't have to walk through those numbers. So we've created a program called Lenovo Store Select. And what Store Select does, like I said earlier, one of our core tenets is to be open and flexible. Store Select provides a programmatic program for our partners to accelerate their onboarding. And I'll walk you through partners today who are in the audience who have helped us very quickly onboard 2 solutions. Let's talk about the first one. Cloudian. Cloudian is in the room. I want to thank you and congratulate them. They helped us, along with our Store Select program, to launch very, very quickly our first object-based appliance. And this product will ship in the 3rd quarter of 2016, coming up very, very quickly. Secondly, for file and block, we call it the unified storage appliance, software-defined again. I want to be clear. These are all software-defined storage appliances for file and block. So the first model is the DX8200C, C for Cloudian, and the second one, same number with N for Nixenta. So we cover the entire gamut of storage needs. And lastly, not to be left out, right? It's still a $40 billion market, an entire refresh of our classic storage line. And what we're introducing here is a few things. One is a 6 gig to 12 gig refresh of our storage line of classic storage. Secondly, we're also introducing an all-flash model and a hybrid model that we didn't have earlier. So today with the V series, you have a classic SAM, which is all disk, all flash, and hybrid, 6 gig to 12 gig. And additionally, we're also introducing compression into these products, which give you a 5x scale in economics that wasn't there before. Now, that's for the portfolio. But like I said earlier, many of our customers say, I love it. However, we are starting to look at brand new models of consumption of IT and delivery. Number one is cloud. You can't wake up or go to sleep without hearing that word a million times. And our strategy is very, very clear. Most customers today, and many of you in the room, know that you need to move to cloud. Some of you may have already moved some of your workloads. But most of you are where we believe you are today, which is in a virtualized, siloed environment. We take that as the foundation and say, cloud is a journey. How do we get you on that journey very, very simply and with very simple steps? Step number one is to get your existing virtualized infrastructure onto an on-premise private infrastructure that is hosted. The second step is to then say, I've done that, I like it. However, there are certain workloads that I just don't want on my premise. I've chosen my most favorite public clouds out there, and we're guessing it's 2 or 3. I think YY said that this morning. We agree with him that it's the same 2 or 3. We then say, look, we have a very simple plug-and-play solution for you that allows you to go from your on-prem infrastructure to off-prem. And we've chosen the 3 top platforms out there. Microsoft Azure with Azure Pack, that will be out in 4 weeks. The OpenStack and the OpenStack distribution from Red Hat. And lastly, VMware with software-defined data center. VMware will be out first in the next 4 weeks for an on-prem private. And by the end of the year, all these solutions will move to our hybrid format. Very simple, no PhDs required. I think that's going to be my tagline. Right? I think there's a saying that says, no water required. I think we've got to say, no PhDs required. Simple, plug and play, turn on. With a services wrapper. Many of these engagements are going to start with a services conversation, and we're designing a set of services offerings to make sure that we guide the customer along this journey. Next, big data and analytics. Such a big word. It's really three simple things. It's three simple steps. You have petabytes of data that you need to analyze. They are a mixture of structured data and unstructured data. Most objects are unstructured data. What do I do with it? I first need to analyze it using Hadoop or a flavor of Hadoop to get to a set of structured data patterns. Step one. Once I have a set of structured data patterns, I now need to get my favorite set of analytics applications to run on top of that structured data to eventually get a set of business results. Once I get the business results, I need to be able to visualize those results and report it to my CEO, so that they can fund new projects. That's the third piece, visualization. So that little column over there, we're working with many partners out there to build solutions for all three steps of that big data journey. And lastly, engineered solutions. We start with SAP HANA today. It is our flagship engineered solution. And we're going to be building a lot more engineered solutions underneath that. So with that, I just want to wrap it up by bringing it all together, and we call it the Lenovo 360. Not to be confused with what you saw this morning with the Fab Pro or the Moto Mod. We start with our foundational core of IT. Servers, storage, software, solutions, networking. It's a long list, and we have an end-to-end view of that. An amazing ecosystem of partners to bring you the best-of-breed solutions. Our global scale and economics that almost nobody out there can bring that level of scale. Wrap that up with an entire end-to-end range of services. And then we bring in the orbiting satellites around that, around the core. Cloud, software-defined storage, let me build that out. Hyperconverged infrastructure that Brian will talk about in a minute. Our innovation center, which is called System Technology Innovation Center for our next generation innovations. Solutions, high-performance computing. So the ability to take the core, wrap it with services, and then go around addressing literally every other emerging market trend out there is really what Data Center Group is all about. Okay? With that, I want to thank you, and I want to bring on Brian Connors. Thanks, Brian.
Okay. Thank you, Madhu. Well, look, I'm happy to be here. I, too, want to thank you for being our customer, being our partner, and actually many of you probably learning about what Data Center Group is all about as we really enter in this journey. We've got a great history, and what I'm going to share with you here is really where the evolution of the data center is going. My role as next generation IT is really looking and partnering with the best of the best in the industry and our own internal teams to really take this to another level. I'll also introduce some platforms that complement and actually leverage what Madhu went through, because as we build solutions, we have to build them off platforms that we have today. So first, let me talk about the evolution. You know, historically, computing was around discrete computing. We call it discrete. One processor, one application. And today, that has kind of gone by the wayside. But in reality, in things like high-performance computing, it's still there. It runs bare metal computing. You don't hear that often anymore. You hear virtualized. Second is virtualization. Virtualization is here to stay, but it's evolving. Moore's Law is helping it to evolve, and it's continuously going forward. All components of the computer, I'm using the word computer loosely, it's a system. It's made up of servers, storage, and networking, are evolving. It is part of the evolution, but also ultimately it is the catalyst to drive what we call the software-defined data center. So as we look at this notion, we're really looking at how consumption of computing and the dynamics of virtualization are really taking advantage and leveraging what's the technology underneath it. There's a hierarchy here that I call. You know, as I mentioned before, at one point there was, you look at a box, a computer sitting out here, and it has a processor, it has memory, and it's all interconnected. We call that kind of an internal network. But it's sitting inside of a data center. And so as this starts to evolve, the computers themselves are in the data center. But with virtualization technologies, with software-defined networking, and as you look at what all the evolution is occurring, and if you heard Pradeep from Juniper this morning, he really talked about the high-speed network and how important it is in the data center. So as you look to tomorrow, the data center itself is the computer. It's totally inside and out, where we are looking at data centers as a pool of resources to provide services, and we're managing it as an environment, as one unit. A lot of technologies here are creating and evolving to that. You're going to see very, very high-speed networks coming, and the whole elasticity of software-defined capabilities helps us to get there. So where once the data center housed computers, tomorrow the data center is the computer, and you're going to look at this. And that's, in essence, what you kind of expect from a cloud. It's always on. You expect it to be very, very elastic. You expect it to be invisible. You just want it to work. So as we look at all the devices and everything we're doing at Lenovo, we don't want you to know a lot of what's going on in the back office. We want to make it invisible, always on, high performance, capable, but to deliver the services that are needed for all this data being generated in the future. So now let me switch to what we're doing in the data center group to really create products that are going to apply to this. Madhu talked about the refreshes of our platforms, our servers, our 3650, 3850, our new SD350, and also our software-defined storage with our partnership with Nexenta and Cloudian. We're first expanding our HX series, and I'll take you through that. That's our partnership with Nutanix. Second is we've introduced a modernized Cloud NOS. We have switch-level networking. We've introduced something called Cloud NOS. It's showing in the back room here. It's modernized for the data center of tomorrow. And then third is Juniper. You know, we've announced the Juniper relationship a while back. We'll start to lay out here what we're actually doing with Juniper as we go forward in the products that we announced earlier this week. So let me first start with the HX series. And again, I think part of them, I want to thank the Nutanix team. Part of them, I think, are here. Brian Cox and perhaps Sudesh is here. But we have a very, very strong partnership with Nutanix that goes beyond just putting software and hardware together. It's around co-development and innovation that we can go help bring further and further simplicity to our customer set. So this product really is a centerpiece. You know, we're committed to this next generation of hyper-converged and software-defined data centers. We've expanded this in many dimensions. First, we've taken what we had was 3 models that we introduced only 5 months ago, and we expanded to 11 models. We've taken what we had in one segment around enterprise, and we've expanded it to not only enterprise, but also remote office, branch office, and SMB. And then third, we've taken one form factor where we had before, one platform from our platform team, and expanded to 3 platforms. So you're going to get many, many different kinds of platforms to fit your needs going forward. And then finally, as we look at SMB and we look at the robo market, it's bringing IT and simplicity that we've been working on for enterprise to people in industries and companies that don't have the skills, but at a much lower price point. So as we introduce the XS series down to SMB, it's a simple, easy to deploy, easy to manage at a very affordable price point for those who don't have IT staffs going forward. So specifics. We've seen that we can actually achieve 60% operational expense improvement with the HX series. We've taken deployment of complex siloed systems of storage, compute, and networking from months down to days. And we've improved the overall performance because this has storage close to the CPU, close to the processor. It's in the server itself. We've used our 2U 3650 platform that Madhu talked about. It's world-class. It's a hardened platform. Same thing with our 1U 3550 platform is the basis for that product. And then the new 2U 4-node, which is the SD 350 that we talked about. This really brings simplicity down to a price point and capability that was unmatched before. More importantly, as we look at how we design these systems and, quote, engineer them, as Madhu talks about it, it's engineered to be hardened. It works. It's one throat to choke. You come to Lenovo. If there's a problem, you come to us. We ensure it deploys, is supported, and works for our customer set. Very important when you're dealing with customer-level data, and your important data is that it is together and that you can trust us as opposed to piece parts coming together. It's too important to lose. Examples. We have only introduced this about 5 months ago, as I talked about. We're seeing success in segments, many segments: finance, pharma, manufacturing, education, just general IT. We've had over 1,200 engagements in this short time across all geos. And our biggest win is actually in India, an emerging market, where it has 24 nodes of a server. This is not a POC. This is not somebody just kind of kicking the tires. It is somebody actually deploying with 1,300 cores and 500 terabytes of memory, of storage. So it is a big system. It's starting to deploy. Now with the expansion of our platforms, we're going to see much more deployment as it goes forward. They're comparing, our clients are comparing this to traditional vBlock from the other company out there. They're looking at the TCO, the operational expense, and the ultimate scalability of these platforms to really help them drive scale, but starting small in a simple deployment. Now, let me switch over to our network side of the house. You know, we've got, we look at this as really the backbone. You know, to run the data center of tomorrow, we really have to have a high-speed interconnect, a fabric of sorts that really come together so everything can work together and workloads and data can move around. So we've introduced our CNOS, and I'll take you through that. And also, the data center is not just about servers and network access. There's a lot more going on in a data center: security, routing, campus support. And that's where the partnership with Juniper really comes in. So first of all, we've got a very rich heritage in networking at Lenovo. We've got over 18 million ports out there deployed. Now, you got to look at the history. You know, the networking team came in as part of us coming over from the x86 from IBM. It came from an acquisition in 2010 from Blade Networks Technology, where we were very active in embedded switches. And even before that, back in 2006, Blade Networks was really a spin out of Nortel. And then there's actually some things before that. So the history we have with networking is very, very long and very, very storied. But we've got over 18 million ports. And you put that in perspective, 18 million ports, and you can go kind of Google it on, maybe Google it. It's about 4 times the number of ports needed to run what is reportedly Google has as their data centers. So it's like 4 data centers what Google has. We've got that many ports. Now, that's with redundancy. That means 2 per. So it is robust. We've also been deployed in many of the Fortune 500 customers. So the history and the capability has been there, but it's really been around the server and server access, not in the complete elements of the data center. So as we look forward, we needed to do something around our cloud NOS as you look at scale-out computing. And so most data centers today, or historically, have been kind of vertical, very vertical. And so network operating systems, we call them, were that way. They were very stagnant. They weren't elastic. So we needed to come out with something that had reliability, had scalability, and was open and flexible. First, our CNOS is built on a new architecture. It is able to isolate and secure processes from other processes. So just like, you know, the cloud, you need to have environments. If something were to go down in a process next door to you, the whole network doesn't come down. So it gets isolated. So scalability is next. And the scalability to really take on thousands and thousands of servers is very important. It's built for horizontal. not built for this vertical capability. So as your needs grow and your data centers grow, it grows with you. Third is programmability, openness. You know, a lot of DevOps, you want to have containers. You want to be able to create new environments and bring on new applications from third parties, and third-party APIs are available. This allows you, enables you to do that, but in a secure way because it can isolate it. You can do DevOps in the same network environment, test them all out, and then bring them into the environment. So this is truly modernized operating system for the data center going forward. So we're very proud of the team. They've been working on this for the past few years, and we've introduced it. It'll start to ship and be downloadable in a couple of weeks from Lenovo. Next, the data center of tomorrow is the computer, as I talk about. There's a lot more going on in the data center than the servers and the networking. Our partnership with Juniper is holistic. It's very complementary. It allows us to work together in an area that we don't really play in the data center. Juniper has a great history in innovation. It's a great story of founding here in the Valley, but they're very, very strong with service providers. They're very, very strong in security, very, very strong in routing, and things that connect to the outside world. So this partnership becomes very, very symbiotic as we look forward, as we look at this relationship. Together, we're creating reference architectures. The team back here has a couple of them. We created a reference architecture for the virtualized data center. That in conjunction with VMware, with our own top-of-rack switches, with Juniper switches, the entire environment is tested and qualified by us together with Juniper. Globally, we'll go to market with Juniper. We have a reselling agreement that we announced a few products earlier this week. The AX platform of products, something we didn't have, something they have that we'll be taking forward. The higher end switches, the spine switches, the 25G, the 40 gig, the 100 gig switches that they have. And again, back here, there's an example of one. Things that we don't have that actually can complement us going forward. These are very, very good proof points of what we can do together. But let me show you about what it really looks like in a data center. So a typical data center has servers and server farms everywhere, sprawling. Our switches are very key to that. We have a very long history of embedded switches that sit within a chassis, but also on top of rack. But there's a lot more. Juniper comes in, and they actually help fill this out. The core of the data center network, the routers, the security, the campus connecting to the metro. So as we talk to customers around data centers, we want to talk to them end to end. So as we look at the future of the data center being the computer, we just can't talk about servers and storage. We have to talk to them in a language they understand going forward, and in partnership with experts who understand this much better than we do. So we're very, very happy to have this relationship and this partnership. You're going to see a lot more of it globally as we go forward, and it's something that as we look together with Juniper, you're going to start to see more and more innovations going as we go forward. Now, I can't get off the stage without talking about innovation. Madhu talked a little bit about our water cooling and the capabilities that we have there. We look at high-performance computing kind of as an HPC is an engine. It's an innovation engine. It's the racing arm of who we are in DCG. For example, Formula One racing. It's pioneered things like airbags. It's pioneered things like even the push button to start your car nowadays. So you can push that button and start that gear shift just like that in 2 steps. It's pioneered anti-lock brakes and turbocharged engines. All this was all tested and sampled and put on the edge in Formula Racing years ago. But it's trickled down and it's found its way. They push the envelope. HPC, kind of lunatic fringe, they push the envelope. Sometimes it's held together with rubber bands and paper clips, but it works. And what they're doing is they're trying to get time to results and really push the envelope of platforms and hardware. Many, many technologies have lineage. From cloud computing. Grid computing we had many, many years ago. If you talk to a traditional HPC guy, they'll say, we did that 15 years ago. Not quite the same, but very close. Virtual desktops. Very similar. High-speed file systems, very similar. So a lot of the technologies that have come from the HPC innovations of the past are coming into the future. We use HPC to solve problems. We're working with some of the best companies in the world and best partners in the world to actually solve real problems. Madhu talked about it, weather. You're looking at weather patterns, when a tornado is going to come, where it's going to hit. Can you actually put physical placement of emergency personnel in locations as you can predict this? That's all being done in this matter. Human brain research. We're modeling the human brain with partnerships over in Germany. Nuclear weapon testing. We don't blow up bombs anymore. They actually model them here. Automobile manufacturing, automobile design, crash analysis, goes on and on from an engineering standpoint to solving and helping in pharma and other areas. So we've got many, many cases and customers that are using our platforms to go do this. But we're still pushing the envelope here. There's new horizons going forward. Machine learning, deep learning is an area we're getting into. You're starting to hear a lot more about it. It's using the analytics and the depth of capabilities of our systems to go solve it. Energy efficiency. You'll see a water-cooled node back here. Intel, Moore's Law is going to slow down a bit, as you heard this morning. What that means is things are going to get warmer and hotter. Densities are getting smaller and smaller. So the ability to actually save money in these large data centers by energy efficiency, using energy efficiency, is very, very important. Water cooling, other areas that we're doing with balanced workloads, all our technologies that are being driven in this area that are going to help us in the data centers of tomorrow. So as we look at our customer sets, we look at 3 categories. One is what we call marquee customers. Those are the big systems. And in 2 weeks, we'll be in Frankfurt, Germany, doing a supercomputer show. There's 2 a year, one in the US and one in Europe. This will be ISC in Germany. We have very large supercomputers. I'll take you through an example of Chineka in a minute. The second is in commercial. Commercial is really where the help is. It's in engineering. It's in financial credit risk modeling. It's in pharma. It's in all areas of our work. And I'll take you through an example of Vestas. And then finally, higher education. We call it transactional, but it's higher education, our buying systems for research. And within Lenovo, we're very strong in this area, specifically now in North America, with the relationship we have with Lenovo and Lenovo proper. We're actually really growing that business quite well as part of the Lenovo family. But let me take you through 2 accounts. Chineka. Chineka is an Italian company that we want a major relationship with. We've had them as a relationship on different architecture, non-x86, when we were back at a different company. They work with a company very closely with a company called E&I. E&I is an energy company in Italy. And Chineka is really the research arm. So we put in 30 racks, 30 big racks of our next-scale platforms. I think it was probably last month. Within 2 weeks of delivery, within 2 weeks we had delivery and it was up and running, and we ran what's called a LinPack run. LinPack run is one of the most exhaustive tests you can run. It's used for top 500. It takes about 9 hours on this class of system to run with 0 failures in anything that runs, which is not very easy because you're running this over probably at 130%. You don't turn it up just to 100%. You turn it up to 130% and run it. From delivery to up and running, 2 weeks. 1.7 petaflops. It has a chance to be with a partnership with Intel, by the way. It's one of the largest systems Intel has deployed with their new interconnect technology. So we will be very, very active in 2 weeks showcasing this machine. That's 30 racks. We're going to do another 50 racks by the end of the summer. So we've got this down. This is really a testament to the relationship we have with Chineka, but really a testament to the team and the engineering team that Lenovo has that can do this kind of complexity and this kind of work in such a short time. The second is Vestas. Vestas is an energy company in Denmark, and they actually make windmills. And you think, oh, you see all these windmills, along the highway. But there is engineering in doing this. There's engineering in where you put the windmill. You want to maximize where that windmill is for where the maximum airflow is coming through the valley. So you have to understand weather to physically place the windmill. We work with Vestas on that, on the turbine design, and then how they analyze where the wind streams are coming to maximize the energy off the windmill. But it's also an IoT device. They are collecting more data and information and doing analysis right at the windmill and the turbine with our systems. So there's analysis and analytics occurring to constantly make changes and adjustments and also get all the data off the windmill. They're actually we're basically partnering in the development of these things with them. So it's just not a vendor-supplier relationship. But these are two great examples, and it's a trusted relationship between us and Vestas as we move forward on the next generation, what we need to go innovate. So this brings me to trusted partnerships. Madhu talked about it. This is very important. It's a big part of my role and my team's role. To be in the data center, to be the #1 trusted partner in the data center, you have to have trusted mutual relationships with partners. It has to be mutual. It has to come through to our customers. We are open and flexible. That really means we have no conflicts. So when we deal with these partners, there's not a conflict. We may have a little once in a while, but it's not like we're competing with them. And that's the partnership relationship. The second is our customers. Our customers know that we're going to be very unbiased. We're open. We don't have our database that we're going to go try to sell in place of someone else's. So they know they're going to look to us to give them help and the best solution going forward, as opposed to being biased one way or the other because we're trying to sell them something. And with the partnerships we have, we're actually bringing value to the customers. I like the quote that really comes from Rob Enderle about the SAP relationship. You see it up at the top. He wrote this, I think, in January when we announced it, and he may have actually refreshed it recently. But he says, this deep relationship is actually potentially stronger than if the two firms were parts of the same company. It's an important statement coming from a company that had everything. 1 + 1 is much, much greater than 2 when you can bring these partnerships together and bring them together. And we think we've built the best of the best with SAP, with Juniper, with Nutanix, and we're building with Red Hat. And there's more. We just started with Nexenta. We're starting with Cloudian. We've got relationship with Microsoft. These are partners that you trust, our customers trust, and that we have a mutual trust together, which is very important as we move forward and to be the #1 trusted partner in the data center. So finally, Madhu talked about this. We have the best of breed solutions, without a doubt. We are open, we are flexible. Our innovation is really there to solve customer needs. We want to push the envelope, though. We want to push the innovation. We want to test our engineering capability, but with partnerships, not just back in a research lab. Finally, customers come first, end to end. There's no debate. This isn't about, did we ship it and is it somewhere in transit, but we feel good back at the factory. That's not the case. We look at this end to end as we go forward. So finally, we are committed. We're committed to you, we're committed to our partners, we're committed to help really drive this evolution to the next generation data center and really make the data center of the computer. It will be evolutionary. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen the same in every geo. But we promise you, we will push this envelope. We will break down silos. We will be disruptive where we can against protecting others that are competitors who are protecting their profit pools, but really help bring you the best of the best from Lenovo. So with that, I want to say thank you. I think you're going to talk. So anyway, thank you very much. Grab water.
All right. Thank you, Brian and Madhu. We really appreciate it. Some exciting news from our DCG group. Now, before I close out, I've kind of been teasing you this another yellow sticky up here. Hopefully, we're still here. Kevin King from Chevron. I hope you share the same excitement for the X1 Yoga that I do. So we have an X1 Yoga for Kevin King from Chevron. Let's give him a round of applause. All right? Best 2-in-1 on the market. So, as I close out, Thank you so much for being with us today. It really means a lot. Thank you for sharing your day with us. A lot of exciting news this morning, a lot of exciting news this afternoon. So our showcase will be open for a little bit longer, so please take your time, go through our products, and understand what we have to offer here at Lenovo. Have a wonderful afternoon, have a safe travel plans, and we, again, thank you so much for coming.